Have you ever felt that you are simply repeating steps you have already walked before? As if every decision, every encounter, and even the mistakes you make had already happened somewhere at some time. Perhaps in dreams, perhaps in vague memories, or in that inner silence that keeps whispering, "You have lived this before." Since ancient times, spiritual masters have claimed that life is not a straight line but a circle folding back upon itself. And today, even science begins to raise questions that confirm this vision. What if what we call a single life is nothing more than a cycle that repeats until we awaken? Throughout this video, you will discover the signs that you have already lived this life before and, most importantly, the secret to breaking this cycle and finally accessing a new reality. What you are about to hear may forever change the way you see your own existence. Before we continue, subscribe to the channel right now. This way, you won't miss any content like this. Content that dares to challenge the truths you thought you knew. We grow up believing that time is a straight line, beginning at birth and ending at death. But modern physics reveals a far more intriguing picture. Time may not be linear at all. According to some physicists, past, present, and future coexist within the same field, like pages of a book already written. Imagine that your entire life, every choice, every event, is already recorded in an immense cosmic library. When you experience déjà vu, it may not be coincidence, but rather a glimpse of another page of that same book, a point in the story you have already walked through in another turn of the cycle. Einstein once stated that the distinction between past, present, and future is nothing but a stubbornly persistent illusion. If this is true, then perhaps we are not moving through life in a straight line, but instead crossing realities that have already existed and may repeat until something in our consciousness chooses to change the narrative. Time is not a river that flows forward. It may be more like an ocean, where all possibilities exist simultaneously, waiting only for your mind to tune into the right frequency. Have you ever walked into a place for the very first time, only to feel an uncanny familiarity, as if you had already been there before? Or perhaps you met someone new, yet felt an instant recognition, as if your soul remembered a bond that your mind could not explain. Science often reduces déjà vu to a simple glitch of the brain, a short circuit of memory. But could it be something far more profound? What if déjà vu is not an error, but rather evidence, a trace of another cycle of existence? Ancient traditions saw these flashes of recognition as fragments of memory leaking from previous lives. In modern terms, we might describe it as a resonance, your consciousness momentarily aligning with another version of your own story, in another layer of reality. Think of it as echoes traveling through time. These echoes are not accidents. They are signs, subtle reminders that you may be walking the same path once more, repeating a narrative until you learn the lesson it carries. Some researchers have documented experiences where people recall entire conversations, places, or even future events long before they occur. Could déjà vu be a doorway, showing us that our lives are not unfolding for the first time, but replaying in cycles until awareness sets us free? What if you are not only living this life once, but countless times, in countless variations? Modern theories in quantum physics suggest that reality may not be singular at all. Instead, it may be a vast multiverse where infinite versions of you exist, each making different choices, each living parallel outcomes. Some traditions call these mirrors of existence. In one mirror, you chose a different path, and your story unfolded in another direction. In another, you repeated the same mistakes, reliving familiar patterns. And perhaps, in this mirror, the one you are in now, you are slowly awakening to the truth that all of them are connected. These mirrored realities are not just abstract theories. They may explain why you sometimes feel a pull toward paths you never took, or a strange grief for lives you never lived. It is as if your soul can sense the countless reflections of itself across dimensions, all coexisting, all influencing one another. If that is true, then your life is not a random accident. Every choice you make echoes across the mirrors, shaping not only this timeline but all others. And when you feel the weight of repetition, the sense that you have been here before, it may be the multiverse itself whispering to you. You are caught in a loop, but you can break free. Why do the same mistakes keep returning into your life? Why do certain relationships, challenges, or patterns repeat themselves, even when you swear you have already learned the lesson? This is the invisible cycle of repetition. It is not random, nor is it punishment. It is the silent mechanism of consciousness, inviting you again and again to awaken. Until awareness shifts, the story will continue, like a play endlessly rehearsed, with you repeating the same role. Psychologists observe this in what they call repetition compulsion, where unresolved emotions draw us back into the same situations. But on a deeper, spiritual level, this cycle may reveal something even greater. The possibility that you are reliving not just habits, but entire lifetimes. Think of it as a spiral. You return to the same point, but each time at a higher level, with a new opportunity to choose differently. If you do not, the spiral closes in, and you remain trapped. But if you act with awareness, the cycle can break, and a new reality opens before you. Have you noticed how certain lessons follow you no matter where you go? Different people, different settings, yet the same emotional wound resurfaces. This is no coincidence. It is the cycle showing you the doorway, and the doorway will not close until you decide to step through it. Skeptics dismiss the idea of repeating lives as fantasy. Yet throughout history, there have been testimonies, experiments, and cases that refuse to be ignored. Children, for example, who describe with astonishing accuracy the details of lives they never lived, names, places, even deaths that were later confirmed. These accounts have been documented not only in spiritual traditions, but also in serious academic studies. How could a child, with no access to such information, recall events from decades past with such precision? Then there are near-death experiences, where people describe leaving the body, entering realms beyond time, and returning with the certainty that existence continues in cycles. Many report seeing their entire life replayed at once, not linearly, but all at once, as if every moment were eternally present. And in the field of neuroscience, experiments reveal that the brain often reacts to stimuli before the stimulus actually occurs. In other words, consciousness may already know what is coming, suggesting that the future is not ahead of us, it is already here. These disturbing pieces of evidence converge toward one conclusion. What you call this life may not be happening for the first time. You may be walking on a path you have already traveled, surrounded by signs urging you to finally awaken and choose differently. If life is a cycle, endlessly repeating until awareness is awakened, then the most urgent question is this: how do you break free? The answer lies in consciousness. Patterns repeat because they are unconscious, wounds ignored, choices made on autopilot, beliefs inherited without question. The moment you bring them into awareness, the cycle begins to dissolve. The first key is observation. Pay attention to the repeating patterns in your life, the relationships that mirror one another, the financial struggles that return, the inner battles you thought were over but are not. Recognize them not as failures, but as invitations. The second key is reprogramming the mind. Neuroscience shows that the brain is plastic, capable of creating new pathways. Through meditation, visualization, and affirmations charged with emotion, you can rewrite the scripts that keep pulling you back into the same destiny. The third key is energetic alignment. You are not just matter, you are vibration. When you raise your frequency through gratitude, presence, and conscious choice, you shift the version of reality you inhabit. Imagine it as tuning a radio. The station of suffering is always broadcasting, but so is the station of liberation. Which one are you tuned to? And finally, the fourth key is courage. Every cycle tests you with the same doorway. Will you choose differently this time? Will you step beyond the comfort of repetition and enter the unknown? That moment of choice is where destiny changes, where the spiral opens upward instead of circling back. Breaking the cycle does not mean erasing your past lives. It means integrating them, learning from them, and finally transcending them. Now that you know, life may not be a single, linear journey, but a cycle repeating until awareness breaks it. The question becomes unavoidable. What will you do with this knowledge? You can continue living as if nothing has changed, repeating the same patterns, the same lessons, the same pain, until the cycle closes again. Or you can choose differently. You can awaken. You can break free from the loop and step into a new reality, one created by conscious choice rather than unconscious repetition. Every sign, every déjà vu, every repeated mistake is not a curse. It is a message. The universe is speaking to you, urging you to recognize that you have lived this before. And the reason you are hearing this message now is because you are ready to change the story. The choice is yours. Will you walk the familiar path once more, or will you take the leap into a new dimension of existence? If this message resonated with you, subscribe to this channel now. Share this video with someone who feels trapped in cycles they cannot explain. And leave your comment below. Have you ever felt that you have already lived this life before? Your awakening begins not tomorrow, not in another cycle, but here and now.